the education of our children. We couldn't have done it without you. We congratulate all our students for a job well done. A lot of happy students moving forward, both now and probably in secondary schools. We welcome everybody to this afternoon.
Welcome. And as we continue, we are going to listen of the examinations, and that will be presented by Ms. Candia Robinson, who is the Senior Education Officer for Curriculum, Measurement and Evaluation. Ms. Robinson.
I know that you all are anticipating your packages in your hands, so I will not. Our Chief Education Officer, Dr. Jeffrey Blair, other senior officers, education officers, support and guidance counselors, learning support staff, as well as principals and the media. Good afternoon once again. Okay, so we can begin. All right, one of the things that we notice is that, and as principals, you know that we have what is, I will consider, diminishing population of students. So this year, we had a total of 742 students who sat the assessment. 9 were girls and 373 were boys. And if you look at the different district distribution, 99 from the east, 150 from the north, 108 from the south, and 385 from the west. As usual, we like to bring out our famous histogram to show that the majority of our students fell within the C range. So if you see this, what we call the bell curve, on the left-hand side, you will have those who are from 0 to 6, you'll have those who perform poorly. But if you go from, say, 12 points all the way across to 20 points, you'll notice that the majority of our students performed very well. Sometimes I might even say maybe too well. They did very well. So principals, congratulations, and tell your teachers we said congratulations. In terms of grades obtained per subject, we had 42 girls receiving A's in language, 181 with B's, 361 with C's, 72 with D's, 86 with E's. And if you notice again, if you look at our A's to B's, that's where the population, the greater population of students performed. And consequently, if you look at the math on the right-hand side, the same thing with our students, 87 with A's, 139 with B's, 303 C's, then we have 140 D and 73 E's. And if you look at the distribution between boys and girls, you will notice that, as usual, the girls from A to C, the girls performed better. But that does not mean that the boys did not improve. You'll see that later on, okay? So although the girls performed better, as Dr. Bless said, everybody improved. So let us look at the next subjects. We have social science, 22 students A's, 177 B's, 384 C's, 82 D's, and 77 E's. Especially for social science, I was very proud because I noticed that our students did a lot better in terms of, now you might be saying 22 A's, but we have to look at the B's and the C's as opposed to before, right? They really did better. So I didn't want to do the comparison of last year and this year because it's going to take too long. But what we need to focus on is that you really had a greater population of students achieving B's and C's, all right? And if we look at science, the same thing. The majority of our students got B's and C's. So when Dr. Bless said that the students did well, they did well. Doesn't mean that we didn't have E's, but I like to focus on the positive. And that is, this is something that most times you will see more C's, but you will not see that big increase in the B's. All right? And then we are going to look at, that's the only comparison I will look at. And I want you all to look at, remember I said that the girls perform better than the boys. So we have here at the top 2025 and below 2024. However, let us look at the boys. For language, the overall percentage, when you talk about average, their mean score, so over 60. Last year the boys would score around 44 out of 60. This year it was 38 over 60. So you understand what I'm saying? Yes, the girls did better, but let us look at the boys, right? For language, paper 2, which has always remained an issue, and we are working with that. You know that we have been encouraging teachers to use the portfolio strategy, and it is helping. But so you notice that they basically stay the same, 23 over 40, 23 over 40, but it did not reduce, okay? If we look at the math, the scores, the average score moved from 30 to 36. For social studies, it remained at 32. And if you look at the science, they jumped from 27 out of 50 to 31.9, which is about 32, which is a great jump. So we have to put our hands together for the boys. As I said, I'm not saying the girls didn't perform better, but let us highlight. They're always doing well, and we appreciate that, but let us highlight our young men, okay? And in terms of scholarships, so we are coming to the end, as you can encourage that we use scholarships from 17 to 20 points. Right? The darker bar would be the girls. So 28 girls, 12 girls got 19 points compared to the 5 boys. So it's true. But remember, I keep saying we have moved from students getting C's and D's to B's, all right? B's and A's. So let us move on to the bursaries. Almost even, 35 girls and 34 boys, and 26 girls and 13 boys. So I think it's a total of 108 bursaries. And I must say that when we were printing out those scholarship letters, that many schools had students with scholarships and bursaries. So these are the top schools. Now, why do we say they are the top schools? Normally, we say that if a school can get over 315, a standard deviation mean of 315, then we figure that they performed well. So we chose those that were above 315. So we have Clifton. Now, it does not mean that everybody got scholarships, but the students performed well, exceptionally well, right? So you have Clifton Primary, top in the list. It's one student, but the student did well. Compared to Pioneer, number 2, with 18 students. Savant Pi, I am so excited for Savant Pi. Savant Pi, there are 2 students. Berrien Christian Academy with 11. Ebenezer, 21 students. Warner Primary School with 9 students. Convent Preparatory with 44 students. Cooley Bistri, 4 students. Petit Savan with 11 students. Christian Union Primary with 20 students. St. Martin Primary, 74 students. And Penville Primary, 6 students. And I'm happy to say that I'm happy to see some of the names that are there. Because some of these schools, we don't really hear, every year we hear the same schools, and you know you have. So give them a round of applause, please. And please remember to tell your students congratulations and well done. That's it. Okay. So, as I told you, I'll be 2 minutes. I was 1 minute and 20 seconds. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robinson, SEO Curriculum, for very brief but very powerful presentation. We appreciate your contribution to the Ministry of Education. And while I am saying thank you, let me just really thank the Curriculum Measurement and Evaluation Unit and the team for ensuring that the activities were well coordinated. Thank you, Ms. Robinson, Krishna Robin, and the rest of the team. Excellent. They deserve a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister Alfred is very passionate about education, as you would have realized by now, and Ms. Alfred is going to address us this afternoon. Ms. Alfred.
Good afternoon, everybody. Chief Education Officer Dr. Jeffrey Blaise, Senior Education Officer Curriculum Measurement and Evaluation Unit, Ms. Candia Robinson, Education Officer Measurement and Evaluation, Ms. Robin, UNESCO Secretary General, Mrs. Hyacinth, other senior officers in the Ministry of Education, CXC Local Registrar, District Education Officers, Curriculum Officers, Learning Support, Guidance Counselors, other support staff of the Ministry of Education, principals of primary school and secondary school, as if I saw secondary school principal, the media and all of those listening and viewing. Good afternoon. It is indeed a very busy time for the Ministry of Education, and I wonder what time of the year it's not busy for the Ministry of Education. Always rolling. Today we extend warmest congratulations to all students who wrote the grade 6 national assessment as they prepare for their transition onto secondary school. I need you to tell them, because most of the primary school graduations will be next week, tell them that we recognize and appreciate their effort. Tell their parents to recognize and appreciate the effort of the schools. Principals, recognize and appreciate the efforts of your teachers. And for those parents who pass when K and 6, tell them we appreciate them and come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2. Now I want to thank all your principals, all of you, the teachers and the principals, the parents and the guardians, for your effort. I cannot thank people for their anxiety, but I didn't realize there was such a high level of anxiety. I know there was, but sometimes you close up on some people and you didn't realize it was at that level. You know, I didn't experience that, and my children went to a school behind got back. And at the time, common entrance was honorable. But you could know if your child going to get a scholarship from grade K. You know, but it's intense, man. And more you want to think why, when even if the child is in the hospital on common entrance, they go to the high school in September. So you wonder, because more and more we are becoming more competitive. More and more we are becoming more and more afraid of failure. More and more, that's why we hear all kind of a story about mental health and suicide, because you win some and you lose some. If you want to win all, you lose your head. You know, we learned that when we were small. We win some and you lose some, and you be a good loser, and you know, but everybody, so which means that the education reform will answer to some of that. Now, what we see is reinforcing the idea that all partners must work together to ensure that every child succeeds. Everybody. But let us continue to give the best, because the school is just one avenue for learning. we need to recognize that the home should be equally ideal in its learning environment. But some schools overdo it. The home is supposed to throw support behind the school. In some cases, I almost feeling as if it's the school that's supporting the home, because I cannot believe the amount of project and worksheets some children going home with. And I know there are some schools who avoid giving assignments on weekend, which I think is a best practice. Weekend, you should be telling the children, go home and go to church and rest, go visit granny, and make sure you scrub your sport shoe and stuff like that. But children go to lessons on Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon, and Sunday morning they can't wake up to go to church, and Sunday afternoon they're doing research for Project Moje. No, man. And then we have also witnessed over the years, as I said, that the parental interest, we have it at 2 peak times, in grade K and in grade 6, which means that somebody have some work for action research. Why is this, and how can we extend this interest throughout the school life of the child? Because we believe that a level of parental interest at all class level would give us much better results. As you're aware, in the past, we have effected a number, I know I'm talking to the teachers, new appointments. I don't know if it makes sense to explain that, but let me explain something. Some people expecting their appointment letter in September. That's not how it works. About 2 weeks ago, appointment letters came down. So some people receive appointment letters just about 2.5 weeks ago. It's not a thing about when school opening you get appointed. Appointment is a process and it's ongoing, and sometimes we send up stuff and we must wait, and then stuff come down and stuff on the way up and more stuff getting ready to go up. So it can come anytime in the year. So we know we had a lot of our teachers' appointments this year. I want to urge our teachers to remain steadfast in your effort. This afternoon I was saying, while we're thinking about making school happy for children, I wish we'll find things also to do for teachers to want to teach. I don't know if they'll take me again at a certain age, but I could go back and do that all over again, you know. You want to teach, you like it, you give in yourself work. When I'm marking a test, I put in all who got number 1 wrong and all who got number 1 right. Who asked me to do that now? You just like it, and sometimes you don't meet enough people who they eat and sleep and breathe teaching. You know, I don't know what we're going to do to get that thing back in. You do things what nobody asked you to do because you read somebody did it in a journal and it worked. I don't know what we will do. But I want to urge you teachers, I want to commend those of you who are taking the pastoral care of our students seriously. Our children need people who care. Now, as we are revisiting our practices, some people just talking. Not as if we go and invent stuff. I was happy that in the consultations that we had, everybody seemed to be on the same wavelength. Parents, PTA, principals, senior teachers, everybody thinking the same thing. Common entrance was supposed to be to select children for high school. Since we move into universal secondary education, 4 years after, we should have already done away with common entrance, because we don't need an exam to tell us who go in school. We know already everybody go in school. If we're going to do an assessment, it wouldn't be for that, if you understand what I'm saying. And not as if we're selecting students. We have enough school now for everybody to go to school, so what are we doing that for? If it's for scholarship, what you get in is books and bag and shirt and clothes. Everybody getting that, eh? When we used to pay transport and we get a scholarship, you're glad because you're getting transportation money, but everybody getting transport now, we free ride on bus. So you don't see, more you dig into that whole common entrance thing, the only thing that you are left to hold with is the competition. So, the education reform, some things will happen in September, not new thing we're going to go and invent, because we have a lot of things already in place that we just need to spin around and put structure and standardize certain things. So we'll see a few changes, and I'm sure we'll see how we need to support our teachers more in ensuring that we teach our children healthy self-management skill As it pertains to rest, exercise, eating, I might not be a good model for that, but I can still advocate. I can, because you'll ask me if you resting you, and I'll say, boy, I will need a rest, but yourself, you're obese. I say, I know that, trying to exercise, But we need to teach our children that. Because you see, as you're teaching your children, if you practice what you're teaching, you might well benefit. We also have to learn to resolve conflict peacefully. People cannot resolve conflict because sometimes I say people don't like you, but people don't like you. So before you peck on their toe, they're giving you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In the long term, they had that for you already. They were just looking for an opportunity. So it all boils down to how we regard each other and how we esteem each other and how we embrace each other. We have to teach our children how to make informed decisions and communicate and negotiate. Good interpersonal relationship skill, patriotism, nationhood, and what it is to be a good citizen. I saw something, I find I'm seeing that very regular now. I said, People come and sing national anthem with the phone in front of them. You mean those big old people that don't know national anthem by heart, Jesus? No, I say if I have a function and nobody comes to sing the national anthem and they're reading the words from the phone, I don't need you to be doing that. I need you to stand to attention at the podium and sing the national anthem. Lead. So that practice we have there now of people coming and sing national anthem and the copy of the national anthem on the podium, or they have to take out their hand attention and swipe in their phone to look for the word. No. Stop it. You get a person that if there's one verse they can sing, choose a verse and let them sing it like a soldier. It's all that that dealing with patriotism. In some countries you can't do that. And that is where we water down certain things. That is the national anthem you are coming to lead us in. They were singing that the other day and I was itching there and I said, no God, this song is so long. When they go and end from to scratch. Yeah, because when you were small, you learn that if some of you itching, you cannot sing a national anthem and respond to the itch. You have to sing, and when you finish. So you see that practice there, don't let me see that again happening, eh? If the person don't know the song, let them sit down somewhere. Get a person who know the song to lead us in the anthem. Also, being responsible digital citizens and being good citizens. Now we have a lot of things to deal with, because I remember some of us saying the IT communion are strong. Let us put guidelines that are standardized for all schools. Some schools have this and some schools have that, but all schools need something, the pace at which we are going. So we have to teach people to be responsible digital citizens. The same thing, if a thing is, somebody tell you a thing you're not sure, you don't know if it's true, it's not uplifting, it doesn't add anything to you, it doesn't take away anything from you, why would you share it? But might making a person look ugly, click. Some people don't think those kind of nonsense on my phone, man. And some of us have to take the lead. We have to be responsible digital citizens. And the basic TVET skills. The basic TVET skills. Some of us are old people, like me so. And we're looking at a lot of things, When you see a young parent send her child to school with 3 pins in the shirt, I know you have a problem. A young person like you, you sending your child to school with 3 pins in the shirt, 3 buttons missing. We need to pay attention to these things because we are a growing nation. We should be able to sew on a button, and if you cannot do it and the child is 13 years, that 13-year-old child should be able on Sunday afternoon to sew on their button. Even if the pin on the wrong side is a button that's supposed to be there. Is that I want to do, there may be in minister in schools I want to go, So as we go into the process of education reform, let us expect changes in grade 6 national assessment. We cannot be putting our children at that level of stress at the end of primary school. And if we must encourage critical thinking and analyzing, it cannot be multiple choice only. We are happy this year for the improvement in schools' performance. And as for me, I'm very happy for the improvement in the boys' performance. It's a long time we have not had a bell like that. In some places of analyzing, I'm not so good on that, they'd almost call that a perfect bell. True, teacher? Yeah, a perfect bell where you have that nice, I'm not so good on that, but I think. So we are well aware that improvements in students' performance is hinged on improving teachers' competency. So therefore, the Ministry of Education support staff will continue to support teachers, continue to support principals. Even if you know the thing, when the people come to your school, make as if you don't know, give them work to do. The officer come to your school, you go down as if everything is fine. Even if it's fine, find something to tell the officer that's not going right so they can do something in the school. You ask sending a mileage from everything right, when if you should be shouting on teachers. When the officer comes to your school, if something is not going well, nobody's going to think you are inefficient. Be looking for things for us to come to help you with. But if you make it look like every little thing is all right, we'll go to a school where the person is saying they need assistance. Okay? So I extend special thanks to the staff of the Ministry of Education for a job well done. We have a long way to go, but we've come a long way. Let's not say too much on how far we've come, but let's focus on how far we still have to go. Senior Education Officer for Curriculum, Measurement and Evaluation, Ms. Candia Robinson, and her officers for your work. I also extend gratitude to PS Geese and Chief Blaise and the rest of the team. We value your efforts in ensuring efficiency in the management of the education system. Teachers and principals, thank you for playing your role, especially in making sure that the exam 2 days went well. And the Ministry of Education will continue to provide students. The Ministry of Education, through the government of Dominica, will continue to provide students who excel with scholarship and bursaries, as well as the assistance for students under the textbook scheme, transportation, school transfer grants, uniform allowance, and other forms of assistance from the Education Trust Fund. And now let me tell you what you're coming there to hear. And I'll be calling no long list of scholarship, otherwise we're going to be here until about 4:30, and Friday afternoon is not for that. So we will just take the first 5, and you'll be happy to see your results. So the government of Dominica, we awarded 86 students with scholarships and 108 students with bursaries. And I present to you the top 5 students this year, and you will be happy to see your rest on your results. So we have Amelia A.K. Stevens, St. Martin Primary. And we have, if I don't say your name well, please excuse me. We have Peyton N.M. Hillary, or Hile, Petit Savan. Kasnaya Kazimi, Newtown Primary. Hinaya Riviere, St. John's Academy. And Eliana Girodel, St. Martin's Primary. So the Ministry of Education, we remain committed to our mandate to provide all citizens with quality education in keeping with our vision, every learner succeeds. So on this note, I wish again to congratulate our students, our schools, our teachers for our efforts, and let it continue to be our, not them people in the ministry, no boy. Sometimes you speak to teachers and principals. I don't know what the people in the ministry do. No? The people in the ministry, we are you two in it. And you have some people in one building saying, I don't know what those people in the building over there doing. No? Let us continue in our effort to ensure that every learner succeeds. God bless you. Jesus loves you, and I love you too. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, thanks, Honorable Minister Alfred, for a very enthusiastic presentation. You see, I tell you, a raw passion for education that's there. Yes? And thank you, Honorable Alfred, and for the support to the ministry teams and to our schools. Excellent. We are going to open the floor for questions that you may have from the media. I know usually the media is quite satisfied with our presentations. So I don't expect that many questions. I'm sure that they're going to tell us excellent job. And okay, right, Curtis? Any questions from the media? The floor is open.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Madam Minister and members of the head table. My name is Curtis Matthew from DBS Radio. Just a short intervention this afternoon. And you have outlined the students who've done well, and the ministry indicating that we've had a good year in 2025. Many more students would have done better this year. Could you point to a few of the factors which have led to an improved performance for Dominica this year? And Madam Minister, you made reference to the Grade 6 National Assessment and Education Reform that should begin in September of this year. You fell short of saying that the government will take a decision to remove the exams altogether. Can you point to the fact whether, in fact, government will do away with the Grade 6 national assessments in the years to come?
I will let an education officer do the part about what contributed to the increase in the results. On the side, I know that we were doing some work in creative writing, composition, and I think that took root, and some of the pieces of writing were much better this year. As a parent, I know if your child can write a good piece, you almost halfway to getting a bursary. So I'll let an education officer, somebody who is on the ground, learning support advisor, deal with that. But because I'm speaking, I will say, maybe it will not be common entrance, but it will be a Grade 6 national assessment. We have Grade 6 assessment, we have national assessment at Grade 2, and we have national assessments at Grade 4. So we will have a national assessment at the end of Grade 6, but it will not be in that format. We are now looking at how it will be presented, but there will be an assessment. There may also be a national assessment for Grade 3 and Grade 5, which means that the schools will not prepare end-of-year exam, but the Ministry of Education will provide the assessment, and all the schools will do it, and that would speak to the curriculum officers a whole lot more than every school writing their own end-of-year exam. So I think the Grade 2 and Grade 4 assessments have taken root, and people are now accustomed with them, and it will have a Grade 6 assessment, but not like common entrance or so, but there will be a Grade 6 national assessment.
Thank you. And Curtis, if I may to add on the factors contributing to excellent performance, we will well appreciate that professional development is key. I mentioned that in my statement. Is key to effective teaching and learning. And the Ministry of Education has doubled up significantly in the past year on staff training, both at the management level, at the teaching learning level, curriculum development level. We do cluster training, district training, national training, just school level training, you name it. Additionally, we have, over the past years, sought to have one afternoon every other week on a Wednesday afternoon where schools are expected to engage in teacher professional development activity, planning for learning, planning for teaching, mentoring and coaching and all the other aspects of developing craft knowledge. And we feel this has transcended into the classroom delivery and consequently into students' performance. So training, collaboration has worked for us, and it has been working, and we feel that we need to continue with that.
Yeah, finally, Madam Minister, I know we have a set of consultations going on to do with reforming the education system. Do you think the schools are ready for reform in September? Do you think that the schools have the resources to effect reform come September 2025?
First of all, let me say that education reform carries a whole lot of arms. So when people hear education reform, I don't know what they're thinking if it's one thing, but education reform has to do with curriculum, teaching and learning, even national priority, what you're sending people to study, or you're preparing for major capital projects for your people, for you to have the human resource to serve in those capacities. Now we're talking a whole lot about TVET. So it's many branches. So what will happen in September is not anything that we will need any training for per se. We already have some of the subjects on the timetable. Some of the subjects were not meant for the serious assessment that we see at some schools because they were what we refer to as soft subjects. We have another subject that's a core subject, HFLE. I think it's not being assessed properly in the school. It's being assessed like a normal subject, and that's not how HFLE is being assessed. So for the HFLE is just to go through the assessment tools, which is not the same thing like English, maths, and social studies. We also have a timetable already, and we have a curriculum. We have a curriculum with sports and singing and drama, VPA, visual performing arts, we have that. We have agriculture on the timetable. What we need to do is to put structure. Look at how the school day is going and to standardize to a certain extent the timetable. So if I go to Grandford on Tuesday morning, I'm going there to look at a maths lesson because everybody on the island is supposed to be teaching maths on Wednesday morning. So we will put the core subjects before lunch, and then after lunch, we will have all the other subjects we have. We'll place them on the timetable after lunch for singing. Singing is slashed with music. When people hear singing and music, they say, oh, we have no flutes, we have no guitar. Oh, tippity, 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 ta. That's what they taught us at Teachers College. And we teach children waltz, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And the children sing their song. You don't hear little people from the lower grades saying rhymes no more. I'd ask you to teach your children a 10-verse poem. But we want to bring back the rhymes and the singing and the dancing and building costumes. And let's have a school concert. Let this class sing in assembly and go outside and plant your garden. We are planting bush for the herbal garden, or we're planting bush seasoning for the lunch. That is not a thing where you have to have a curriculum and children must sit down there. And if you're teaching foreign language, you don't bring in all accent, Guaran accent. What is all accent? Mon pas même savent, you know. But acute accent. If you're teaching a foreign language, you're teaching it conversational. So the children enjoy the thing and they sing. Lundi, mardi, mercredi, jeudi. I almost see in the class I'm supposed to be. So what I'm saying is, what we will start with, it will just be a starting point. And then we will grow into the reform. Reform is not a thing that you can just do in 2 months or 2 years, is you move into it. So therefore now we'll go back now to children learning stitches in embroidery, sewing on a button. Let them do fun things. And these things are not for testing, because your piece of work will go in your portfolio. When you just started, look how you did, and you have your you only remember those pretty little books you had when we used to do sewing, boy? And we encourage our parents to get on board, because I'm telling you, we also have to educate our parents. Because there are some parents, if their children go to school for 2 days and they don't see writing in the book, they say they didn't teach anything to them and there's no writing in your book. Because everything is about writing. To change how children learn, do not teach just for children to learn, but teach children how to learn and be ready for, yes. So some of those things, education reform is a big, big thing, but we are starting with what we have to put some structure into what we have so that everybody can at least be on the same page.
Curtis, to add to that, an important element of the reform is collaboration and communication, because if all our schools and the community is aware of what the intent is, then everybody will be able to appreciate and work with us. One of the difficulties with programming a lot of times is communication. How do you communicate to your stakeholders so that everybody gets the same message? And Honorable Minister is very articulate in that. If you notice, we already have an idea of what we want. We just need to continue getting feedback from our stakeholders. So we're looking forward to that. Thanks.
Yeah, right. Okay, so
Yes, thank you very much for the questions from the media. And thank you very much, principals, for being here this afternoon. As Honorable Minister indicated, it's Friday afternoon. I know you are infused with the performance of your school, so that's why you are here, because of the passion for education. Continue doing an excellent job, and please convey to your staff our appreciation for their efforts, and to your students and parents our appreciation. I know they will get it because social media must be on, but still do that for us. Thank you, everyone. And we welcome your presence here this afternoon. We hope that you have a safe, enjoyable, and a stress-free, at least a restful weekend over and out. Thank you.